Hey, it's Craig here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I thought I'd do a final installment in the Building a Natural Pond Drainage Ditch Pond Solution video series. So here we are with the finished product. I'll sort of explain all the features I got here. So I bought one of these solar fountain things. You know, it says don't use unless the water's clear, but it's been running for 3 days. So I think this water looks dirtier than it is. I had a viewer say to me, don't put the fish in there till the water goes clear. And I mean, if you spend any amount of time near natural rivers, you know, natural systems, at least where I live, anytime it rains, inland especially, where, you know, the ecology here, the water tends to be fairly clear because there's not a lot of like mud, but inland where there's more, it's just a different kind of soil, a lot more clay. Every time it rains, the rivers look like this, and they stay like this for days, and it's not like all the fish die, right? I put fish in this 2 weeks ago. They only had 6. I bought 6 rosy-red minnows. They're a tiny little minnow, about 2 inch long max, right? They really look like they're like an inch long. They're small little minnows. They're supposed to be like the toughest, most resilient, live anywhere, deal with anything minnow there is. Can handle warm water, can handle low oxygen, can handle dirty water, blah 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 blah. I stuck them in there 2 weeks ago. No floaters yet. I mean, and this is deep compared. Let's just see. This is basically water level wise, it's about 2 inches below the outlet pipe there, so I've lost about 2 inches. Okay, this is the deepest spot, is around here somewhere. Okay, so right now we got about 16 inches, I'd say, maybe a bit more, maybe 17. Yeah, 17 max, probably 16. Okay, at the deepest spot. Now, it takes a lot of water to get it up. Now, what I've done here is I got my garden hose. The reason I built this pond is that I find it really irritating to be turning the garden hose on and off. So for most seasons, I have a bucket like those, and I fill it up with water. When I run the hose, I fill a bucket up with water until it's full, and then I use my watering can to get water from the bucket. That's what I've been doing for a number of years now, because I just, you know, the hose isn't on all the time, and usually when I need water, I just need a little bit here or there. Everything's, you know, eventually everything in the garden here will be mulched, and you just don't need to be watering stuff all the time. You need a little bit, you need it when you need it. So I thought, boy, if I had a big hole in the ground, I'd have a constant source of water. That's why this is just laying here. This water bucket doesn't look very attractive, but basically I got water now, you know, whenever I need it, just by having that bucket there. Right? So a guy was asking me, how do you fill this thing up? Well, you just have a rope attached to a watering can. Take the water when you need it, right? Behind this pump, kind of amazing. All I got to do is put it in shade. See, I shade that with the watering can. I take it out of the shade and it's going again, right? And it's kind of neat when you're out here during the day. A cloud will come over the sky and the thing will just shut right down, right? But it's been running for a number of days and it works great. So that was the impetus for this, just a place to store water so I could have a couple canfuls when I need it. If I have to do a lot of watering in the garden, I have the garden hose. If I'm running the garden hose and the water's low, I can fill it back up. You can see I got some, whatever those are called, water striders or whatever, you know, they just found their way here. The fish are in there somewhere, just chilling out. Whenever it rains, because I've set the sort of drainage things set up here, the water flows pretty freely through the pipe, you know, from the hill through the pipe into the thing, and it fills up. The other day we had a really hard rain for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, and this thing filled right up. It was over the pipe, actually. It got so high. So I think we'll have no problem keeping this going. Actually, by running this fountain, I think I'm actually evaporating off a lot of the water. But it's nice to have. I think it keeps the water moving around. I think, you know, the water has been muddy like this for weeks. So I don't know. You can see, you know, you can see down about 2 inches, and then it gets so muddy you can't see anything. And I mean, basically underneath this you know, plant life doesn't go all the way down. It basically stops right at the water line. So, you know, I think there's a lot of exchange between the water and the clay. All the soil here is mostly clay, right? So I think that's why the water is dirty like this. It's clay, which is very fine, and it takes a heck of a long time in a system like this for the clay to settle out, especially every time we get a good rain, right? There's new clay coming in just from everything washing out of there, and it's just swirling this all up. I think over time, as various forms of, you know, algae and things start sort of settling in along the floor of the pond, there'll be less disturbance and the water will get clearer, right? But, you know, to go back to the original point I was trying to make, I think we human beings, we place a lot of importance on the water being clear because, you know, it's pleasing to us. You know, I think instinctively we're more at ease with clear water because we drink water, and if it's not clear, then you can get sick from it, right? It's just instinctively you want sort of clear oxygenated water, because any water that doesn't have those qualities is more likely to make you sick. So when we see water that isn't clear, we just think it's dirty. Fish are in a different category, right? They sort of have to get, it's sort of like with us, you go in a city when there's, you know, smog, as opposed to being out in a nice beautiful place like this. The air doesn't smell as nice in the city. It smells like oil and exhaust and stuff like that, right? But you can still breathe, you can still get oxygen from that air. It's not saying it's good for you, especially as a human, you know, you're a life form that lives, you know, anywhere from 60 to 100 years. You know, for a fish that lives 2 or 3 years, there isn't too much going to go wrong from breathing. I don't know where I'm going with all of this. What I'm trying to say is the water looks dirty, but I don't think it's that dirty from a fish's point of view. Right? A fish can handle disturbed water. They wouldn't last very long, right? Because things flood, things get, you know, there's torrential rains, there's, you know, it's just things happen in the natural world, and the fish have to be able to handle that. At least, you know, freshwater fish, right? We've got different things, you know, floods and melts and spring rains and all these sorts of things, right, that stir the water up and make it all muddy. They can handle it. I'm sure they don't like it. I'm sure they can't see very well. But, again, no floaters. So, anyway, we're done, you know, doing this whole thing. This drainage seems to be working really well. I actually had so much extra gravel that I put another drainage system in here. Right now, this one here, I couldn't get it all the way down because I basically ran out of gravel, and I knew I wouldn't have enough, right? So I made a fairly deep hole here, about 2 feet deep. I think it's called an artesian well, basically a hole full of rocks, right? So hopefully, you know, when I get a good rain, and this is just another one of those washout places. When you have a really good rain, you can sort of see a sort of natural river or canyon forming down here. So I thought, well, why not give the water, you know, why not give the rainwater what it wants, a way to go. So hopefully, you know, that will solve all of that. I'm going to move all this sand back and just, you know, clean the whole thing up. But basically the renovations for the garden for this year are done. And it's time to really get working on this garden, get some mulch on these beds, and just get after all the other things that need to be done. One thing I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but the gravel I used for these drainage ditch, what do you call it, a French drain. I mean, you call the gravel company, you say, I'm making a French drain. Give me the gravel you need for that. Because not just any gravel will do. This, I think this is called aggregate. I think it's called like 1-inch aggregate or something like that. So with this sort of gravel, it doesn't compact together. Some kinds of gravel with, you know, repeated stepping on and stuff like that, it actually compacts almost like a concrete. But this here gravel, they screened out all the fine stuff. So it's just big pieces. So there's a lot of air spaces in between each piece. which allows the water to run through it freely, right? So it basically gives the water a way to go. So, you know, we've got the area of this gravel, let's say it's, you know, 1 foot wide by 1 foot high. And a good deal of that space is air as opposed to rock. And of course, when it rains, the water can get through that and get down here and get into my pond and get out the other end without flooding my garden. And I'm hoping by having this drainage here, that'll help a lot of these fruit trees, which I've had a heck of a time trying to grow fruit trees here because I got so much water running through this garden. A real drainage problem, and it's just not ideal. The drainage situation was not ideal for growing fruit trees. But this is where the garden is, this is where the fence is, this is where the fruit trees have to be. So hopefully by doing this, I've sort of removed some of the water from the equation, and the fruit trees will be happier. Anyway, it's a nice pond. I'm happy with the outcome. It might not be big enough. If it isn't, I'll make it bigger next year. You know, it's a lot of work digging a big hole. I'm kind of done with this for this year. I just turned 50 a few days ago, and digging a hole like this when you're pushing your 50s is not the greatest thing in the world, but it's good to know you can still do it, right? I hope you enjoyed this series. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Hey folks, guess what? I've started a newsletter at maritimegardening.substack.com. I'll be putting out 1 article a week. That's 52 articles a year. The articles expand on ideas that I mention on my videos and podcasts. And every article has a read aloud option, so you can just listen to me read it if you're busy doing something else. You can subscribe for $30 a year or try it for $5 a month and see what you think. It's a great way to help support everything I'm doing here. But hey, there's also free content too. So if you just want to read the free stuff, that's fine too. As always, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.